Hey everyone, Ekman here with another video, and today we're going to continue our OP06 coverage with Yamato, the new green and yellow Land of Wano leader that we have from this set. And a couple things before we get started. First, if you guys enjoy these videos, please make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. It does mean a lot to me, and it does mean that you guys want more of this One Piece coverage. And also, I've been doing a lot of live streaming on YouTube as well as on Twitch, going over OP06 stuff, including an entire stream going over just testing Yamato and the two builds that we have at the end. So if you guys want to see that, it's good for Twitch subscribers as well as YouTube members, and I really do appreciate you guys supporting me that way, as well as there's going to be more streams leading up to the release of OP06. So honestly, it's been a lot of fun, and it's cool to just be testing some new stuff, especially since the end of OP05 has just been a bit of a slog of just, you know, the same kind of decks that we've been seeing. So really having a good time. Make sure to be on the lookout for future live streams, and let's get on into it. So we got this Yamato leader, and you probably already have an opinion of this leader, and most people I talk to are just, man, this leader's dumb, right? It has double attack on a leader, which is honestly quite rare to have double attack on any card in this card game as it is. It's not really balanced around cards having a double attack effect, and the leader just happens to have it, right? We are a 4-life leader, right? So if this was a 5-drop or 5-life leader monocolor, I think they would just be busted. But also, it does have another effect of activate main once per turn. If your leader has 3 or less life, if your opponent's leader has 3 or less life, attach up to 2 Rested Dawn to one of your characters. So the first time I read this, it was just attach 2 of your Rested Dawn. So the fact that it can only be characters means it's a little bit less impactful. But man, it's so good to be able, like, both these effects are fantastic. It's like, even if it just had double attack by itself, the leader would probably be very good, but the activate main kind of puts it over the edge for just a very aggressive leader, especially in a deck that has a bunch of cards that have rush potentially, or just the fact that we can play cards off our life very easily from the yellow side. There's just like a lot of variance from this deck, and it can just have a lot of pressure and just like win on like turn 3 or 4 just from some cards we're going to talk about. So honestly, it's very aggressive. It's not consistent all the time, but man, when it goes off, you just feel like there's literally nothing you can do. So it's something you have to play a little bit different about, a leader with double attack is kind of silly in its own right. So especially with some of the support we're going to talk about. It's the second yellow and green leader, by the way, so that's why Arlong's chilling in the corner there. A lot of the cards that work for this leader also works for that leader, especially since there are a lot of good trigger cards that exist for yellow and green right now with the introduction of OP06. So it's probably a leader I'm going to go back and check out a little bit later, but I think he's in a good spot too. So anyways, some kind of supports. The first one that you guys are probably already knowing is the Onami. This card maybe should not exist in this card game, but it's an on play, give up to one of your leaders or characters banished for the turn. It's just literally anything. So for example, you get double attack and banish on your leader for 2 Dawn, which is pretty good in a lot of ways. So then you put, like, even like turn 2, you put 2 Dawn underneath it. You have a 7k double attack banish leader, and that's pretty rough. It's also a 3k body, which means that you get to later, just if it's chilling out on the board, you can use the activate main to give it 2 Dawn to make it a 5k. So it can pressure your opponent's leader for free after the fact. And it's a 1k counter. And it has a trigger that says KO up to one of your opponent's 5 cost or lower characters. So it has like one of the best triggers in the game. It has a Thunderbolt-like effect in life. So it just does it all. The only thing is that luckily it's not a Wano card. If you could search this card, I think it would just be ban-worthy outright. But man, it gets so much value, so much pressure, either in hand, in life, or on board. It's very good. And also kind of these other 2 cards, these are kind of my own personal picks for it as well. But the fact that these are important is specifically because they are 2 costs, which means you can use their effect, and then you can have activate main, because it's only Rested Dawn for this Yamato leader, which means that if you attach Dawn, that's 2 different kind of states. So you want to kind of use 2 Dawn anyways, so you can get the effects, and then you get to continue. Like, you just get bonus stuff. So for example, this Tonoyasu, you can activate main, trash this character up to one of your leaders or characters with Wano Country, gain plus 3k power for the turn. So it's just, you pretty much discard this card and then give plus 2 or plus 3k. So a free plus 3k on a Wano Country card is not too terrible. It's just a card to consider. I know a lot of people were thinking about the card on release. I haven't seen it as much as we get closer to release, but it's just a card that I think is worth it. And you also have this Hiyori, which not only is a card with trigger, as a 2k counter, and on play, give up to one of your leaders or characters with Wano Country plus 1k power for this turn. So technically, it's a way to boost up your leader on those turns. So you play it for 2, you attach 2 Dawn to one of your characters, and then you can give your leader plus 1k. So it's a little plus 1k boost. And the fact that you can put this in life, as we'll see a little bit later, means that you can get some pretty good effects off with it. So I think it's worth running in like a couple copies, as we'll see in a little bit. But honestly, any of these just work with the leader effects so well, and just helps out in a lot of ways. So that's kind of why we're mentioning them here. And then we have kind of the Land of Wano support cards. Honestly, these are like the ones that are good. And there are some others, but these are the ones that really kind of want to. The base, like the way that the archetypes kind of built is to have this effect that is based off your opponent having 3 or less life, which means that if you're a 5 life leader and you get hit by double attack once, you are at 3 or less life. Or even like a 4 life leader, since they're more common in the game right now, you get hit once, you're down to 2 life. So the fact that you get all these free things, for example, you get a 6k for free out of your life, which is very good. But if you weren't able to pressure your opponent very early, the fact that this card isn't able to get out is kind of rough. But just also like this, I don't know how I feel about this card. I feel like it's a little bit slow for what you want to do, but it also just has this on KO. If your opponent's life is 3 or less, place the top card of your life of your deck to your life. So if they try to get rid of this card by KOing it, it means that you get to heal a life too, which is great. So I probably just need to play with this more and maybe change the way I think about it, but it reads really broken, and there are some really good scenarios with it. Then we also have this 2-drop Koizuki. It's also a 2k counter, and on play, you may put the top or bottom card of your life to your hand, put up to 1 card from your hand to the top of your life. So there's a lot of great cards you want to be putting into your life anyways. You have to give up a 2k with it, but not if we have this Momo here. So this is a 5-drop blocker. On play, place up to one of your Wano type characters other than Koizuki on the top or bottom of its owner's life. So you can use this effect to play either one of these. Really, like, you can attack with Kiku, and then afterwards you use Momo to put it back into your life, and if they hit your life again, you get to play the Kiku for free. So that's pretty good. The fact it's a blocker is very nice. And you get some real good combos where you can use the Hiyori effect for 2, put a card into your life that you need to be put there, and then put Momosuke, use its effect to put it back into life too. So you can like cycle a life and heal 1 for 7 off these 2 cards, and then you get a 2k back, which is really, really good. So honestly, I think that's a really good combo. I think this Koizuki is very strong for being able to do that. It's a little bit specific on what cards you can put into it. There's not a lot of super good Wano cards, especially since Onami is Straw Hat and not Wano, but I think it's in a good spot. All right, and then just some new yellow events. These are kind of the last cards we're going to talk about in particular, but they're so good. So we have the You're the One Who Should Disappear. It's yellow's first 0-cost event counter. The effect is great, but also the trigger in life is just insane. If you have 0 life cards, place the top card of your deck onto your life pile, then trash 1 card from your hand. So that's great. If you have 0 cards in hand, obviously you can just do it for free. It's like you use the Anel effect for free, right? But any leader can do it. And then there's some situations with like Hiyori. So like the way that I like to do it is that if I'm at 1 life, I can use Hiyori's effect, put that into my life, and then use it and put it back in. So like you can get some really good advantage with this card. It's not too difficult to put it at 0. And then like even an Anel is broken. And then we have this card, which I don't think exists for Yamato, but it's a good card in yellow regardless. So I just want to talk about it real quick. It's called Reject. It's a 4-cost card. Choose 1. You can just KO a 5-cost. Sure. Or if your opponent has 1 life, deal 1 damage to them, then add the top card of your life to your hand. So burn damage for 4 is like in a game where burn damage, like this card is pretty dumb, and then it has a trigger where you just get to draw a card as well. So it's just never dead. If you draw it, like when you're about to lose, you can just cycle it for free. And then otherwise you can use it to push for game or get rid of a blocker. Or there's just so many applications for a card like this. So honestly, I think it's in a good spot in that yellow continues to just get really obnoxious cards. So anyways, also this Onami is not like restricted in anything for any of its stuff. So you can put it in Anel, you can put it in, you just put a bunch of things. You can, like Onami, give your leader banish, and then use 8-drop Katakuri, put Onami back into your life, and then you can use the trigger effect next. Like there's just a lot of possibilities for that card outside of Yamato as a leader. So anyways, those are kind of the cards I want to talk about specifically, and let's go to our 2 example builds. All right, and here are our example deck list. And real quick before we get started, we're using our new deck builder here. This is the deck builder that I'm building in-house for my website, Eggman Events. It's up to OP06 and beyond, which has a lot of good cards for you. It has import and export functionality and everything else. It's not publicly released as of this recording. It should be by the end of the month for everyone to use as well. I want to get it out as quick as I can. But also, if you guys are interested in testing it out, I do have an open beta that should be live as this video comes out. So make sure to check out my Discord if you guys want to mess around with this and get access and get some feedback, or give us some feedback about your thoughts on this deck builder. So I've been working on it pretty hard with a friend, Chippy. I think it's in a really good spot, and I'm honestly really excited to release it to y'all. So still in beta, but it should be released pretty soon. And if you're watching this video, it's probably already out, but just not when I'm recording it. So anyways, we got two different builds. We've got the Sky Island version, which I like a little bit more, as well as this kind of fortress build that I've been seeing pop up. Shouts to True Evil TCG for giving me like the original build for this one too. This one's not as much of my playstyle, but I can see where it's kind of obnoxious. And then we also have this one. This one I feel is like more of my playstyle, with having the Sky Island cards and getting that kind of pressure, which is really nice. The kind of idea for this deck is that you just kind of go wide. You want to make sure you got a lot of cards that hit the board, so you can use the activate main for this, because if you're not able to get a card to stick, the activate main for this card doesn't really do anything. You are running the Momos and the Hiyori combo. We're also running two of the other 2-drop Hiyori as well, because I do like that level of effect for it. This is, if I didn't say already, this is just a bit of an offshoot of the December one that won in Tokyo, a big championship series they had out there. So a deck like this won the event. I made some quick changes based on my own preferences, but honestly, I think it's in a really good spot. So obviously 7 Costanel is still in a good spot for this deck, being able to be a rush card. The fact that it's Sky Island, so it's searchable, is good. And again, like, you can play this card with rush, and then you can give it plus 2k with our leader effect. So cards with rush are just really good in Yamato, because you generically get a target for your leader effect every time you play one of them. So I think that's kind of nice. We also do have Hody Jones, which is a green card with rush. This is a really good finisher. It's kind of like Enel and 200 million volts all in one. It's a 7-drop 8k rush. On play, rest up to 2 of your opponent's characters and or Dawn, then put up to 1 of your life cards into your hand. So being able to use this card is pretty good for finishing games. And the fact that it hits Dawn as well as character cards, I think it's just very, very good for that. So I like the idea of the card. I think it's strong. And being able to get rid of blockers just means you can go for game, which is great. And your opponent's going to be at low life totals anyways most of the time. It is pretty much you play it, and then if you either win that turn or lose next turn, but that's kind of fine. So we have 3 of those. Other than that, I think it's pretty standard for what we're doing. Gadatsu's fine, especially since early game. I don't think they're going to be protecting their life, I think, pretty often early game, or just go down to 2 very quickly, which means that 1, either your activate main is live, or 2, Gadatsu can get rid of like a nasty 4-drop. So I think both those scenarios are pretty good for you. Other than that, the only other card I want to talk about is 200 million volts is just broken in this leader. You use it for 2, you give something plus 3k, and then you use the activate main of Yamato to give something else plus 2k. So you use 2 Dawn to give plus 5 to something, or 3 and 2. So that's pretty good. That's a lot of Dawn. That's a lot of power, and you get rid of a blocker kind of thing. So I think that's strong, and that helps out the deck a lot. So I think that's in a really good spot. Other than that, I think this is honestly the build I like for it. You could get like a little bit like greedier with some of the cards that trigger out of life, but I think it's in a good spot. So this is the one I like more. And then we also do have the fortress build, and this one's really interesting. Kind of the idea for this is that with the Yamato effect, you are able to give the 2 Dawn for free every turn, which means it's just Eustace Captain Kidd wants to have that Dawn attached to it at all time, but there are just some kind of like tricky scenarios where you can't use it early enough, or like the fact that you have to use 1 Dawn, you don't have like the freedom that you want. So being able to use it for free with the leader effect means that if you have 8 Dawn and your opponent has 3 or less life, you're able to just play this card, and then you can use its effect immediately, which is really, really strong. It also means you can be a little bit greedy with cards you take from your life because of it. We also have the 10-drop Dofi, so you can play 10-drop Dofi, but then you still use the 2 Dawn underneath the Uses Captain Kid if you already had it established, which you wouldn't be able to do with literally any other leader, so I think that's really cool. And then other than that, we just kind of set up our cards to be very defensive. The Rosinante to help protect the Uses Captain Kid, our Dofi stuff to be able to cycle with Baby 5 and Bonnie, especially since you can play something like Bonnie for 2, use the effect to find something, and then you have 2 Dawn available to use for your leader effect. So that's really nice, and that's helpful for card value without really losing it, which I think is cool. So not like the easiest deck to build. It plays really particularly, and you have to kind of know the meta that you're going into, but I do think it has some results and is really successful at locking down other decks, which is really cool. So that is the build here. There's a bunch of other builds you can play with Yamato. The leader is pretty flexible, and a lot of the yellow and green cards are really flexible too, which is really cool. You can just kind of decide what you want and kind of go from there. I think the leader is good enough to carry a lot of other archetypes. So anyways, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to check out my live streams going over some other decks and other archetypes in OP06, and for other videos going over the future leaders too. So that's going to be it. Again, if you want to check out this deck builder, make sure to check out my Discord. Message me if you have any questions, and I'll see you guys then. So that's going to be it, and I'll catch you all next time.